Hi guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, the world. Welcome to the 10th VRT conference. Today is the Saturday, 28th of April 2018. And as you know, this meeting is being recorded. If you consent to this, please type yes in the text chat. If you don't, then you can always watch the recording later on. And here we have Joe Dale. He's speaking about he's speaking about easy subtitling and multimedia language learning with Apple's Clips. Joe is my friend. We met in 2015 and all the time for the Apple conferences we met. Joe is an independent consultant who works with a range of organizations such as TES, Network for Languages, ALL, the British Council, the BBC, Sky, Microsoft, and The Guardian. He's recognized expert on technology and language learning and has spoken at conferences and run training courses in Europe, North America, the Far East, and Australia. He was a member of the Ministerial Steering Group on Languages for the current UK government and was shortlisted for a NAACE Impact Award in 2013 too. He was recently described in Guardian article as an MFL guru, and you can follow him on Joe Dale on Twitter, and you can check out his award-winning blog, joedale.typepad.com. And Joe Dale.
Thank you.
Let's go.
Thank you. That was a really lovely introduction. Thank you so much. Beautifully read as well. So, what I'm going to try and do today is I'm going to try and repeat the session which I did at the IATEFL conference, but obviously virtually. So we've got everything set up. And I'm hoping the technology won't fail me. We'll just have to see how it goes. If things go wrong, I'll just explain what you would be seeing if the things don't quite work out. But Heike has done an amazing job rehearsing with me, so I'm hoping that everything will be fine, and we'll just have to get on with it. So thank you, Syke, for that lovely introduction. So as you know, my name's Joe Dale. I was a languages teacher for 13 years, teaching French. So my background is modern foreign languages, but I've been coming to IATEFL every year since 2013 when I did my a session at the pre-conference event for the LT-SIG. And I also did 10 different summer camps for pilgrims, starting in the mid-90s to the early noughties. So I did 10 different courses over 8 years. And I've represented ELT-SIG at a number of different events as well. So today's very practical. I'm going to be demonstrating different ideas to do with movie making, focusing on the app Clips by Apple. But in a second, I'm going to be sharing a Google Doc with you, which has lots of Android alternatives. So if you have a tablet device or a phone, then there's lots of ideas you'll be able to take away from this. You don't have to have an Apple device to be able to learn from this particular webinar. So thank you to Heike again. I'd like to say for allowing me to speak at the virtual roundtable. This is my third presentation, and it's an absolute pleasure to be here. And as I said, I just hope the technology all works out okay. So you can see that underneath my avatar there is my Twitter username, just Joe Dale. I signed up in 2007, so I was able to use my full name, which is lovely. So feel free to follow me if you're not following me already. And then underneath that is my email address. So again, feel free to contact me if you'd like to after this session, if there's anything you're not sure about or anything you want to query, or if you would like to invite me to your country to do similar training, that would be lovely as well. So the first thing we'll do is I will share a link with you, which is here. So feel free to either scan that with a QR code reader if you have one. If you have the latest iOS 11, then you can scan with your camera app. All you have to do to enable the QR code option is to go to Settings and then scroll down to where it says Camera. And then on the right-hand side, it says QR code or Scan QR Code. and you just enable that by flicking the switch so you can see the green part. And that means you then launch the camera app, point it at the QR code, and it will then have a notification pop up here at the top of your screen. You tap on that and it takes you to the website in Safari. Or you could just go old school and then just write it in, is.gd/VRT 2018. If you have an Android phone, I would recommend the QR code reader called iNigma, which is I-NIGMA. I can see that Heike has written tons of links, yes. So you'll be glad to hear I won't be covering every single app today, but I've given you lots and lots and lots and lots of apps to explore, which are good for multimedia language learning. I've used the website is.gd because it's a nice URL shortener. And also when you click on it, it takes you to the is.gd website and it gives you the long links. In other words, you can see where the link is pointing to. So you can see that it is a Google Doc. It's not something like a virus or anything like that. So is.gd is a good website if you want to see the long version of the link that you're linking to. And it's also a very short one as well. So I'm now going to start off by demonstrating a couple of ideas using my iPad screen. So I'm going to try and, this is the fun bit, I'm going to try and mirror my iPad and share my screen using Air Server. So to do that, I'm going to click on here and it'll say share my screen. So I now click share my screen and I click on Air Server like that and click share. And I'm hoping now that you should be able to see my screen.
Yes, we see.
Perfect. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do. Right. So thank you so much, everyone, for persevering. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show how to use a couple of different apps in conjunction with each other and how they can all be pulled into clips once I've created my recording. Okay. Okay, bless you. So we'll finish us around in 45 minutes time, if that's okay. Brilliant. So the first thing I'll do then is I'll launch iMotion on the iPad. So iMotion is an app, a free app. All the apps I'm going to be showing you today are free. So on the iPad, there are different apps which allow you to do what's called one-stop animation, which is whereby you take a picture of an object. You then move it slightly, you then take another picture, you move it slightly, take another picture, and then when you run all the pictures together, it gives the illusion of movement. So for iPad, I would recommend iMotion. I'd also recommend other ones as well. There's one called Stop Motion Studio, which works on Android as well, and also on Android there's one called PicPack, which I like as well. All of these links are in the Google Doc which I've shared with you. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tap on the new movie page on the screen and I'm going to give my movie a title. I'm also going to hold my iPad up like this so that the video that I make is square, because the beauty of clips is all the videos that you make are square, so it's ideal that you have a square video. And if you turn it in a in a portrait mode, it makes a square video, whereas if you hold it in a landscape mode, it makes a landscape video. So I'm now going to put in the title VRT Webcom, like that. And you can see underneath it says time-lapse, manual, remoted or import. The manual option would be you take a picture, you move it slightly, you take a picture, you move it slightly. But because I'm a bit pressed for time, I'm just going to go for the time-lapse option, which is already enabled. So I just tap done. And then you can see that underneath where it says time-lapse, manual, etc., that it has an interval slider. So what that means is if you move the slider to the right, it will increase the number of, the time between shots, and if you move it to the left, it will decrease it. So I'm going to have it on 1 second, and that means it will take a picture every second. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tap start, and I'm going to point my iPad at, literally this is the back of an envelope, and I'm going to try and do the following. I'm going to tap start, and it will start to take some pictures. So I'm now going to do a hashtag, and I'm going to write VRT Webcom, like that. for the hashtag for this today's event. I'm also going to do a little heart, like that, just for fun, okay? So you can see I've made this little video, and I'm now going to press stop and stop again. And what that's done is it's made a one-stop animation video of me writing VRT webcon. So you could, for example, do this on a piece of paper. You could also use it on a mini whiteboard if you were writing down an expression or telling a story or explaining some grammar. It's a very lo-fi way of making a one-stop animation. I can also, at the bottom, you have the slider. I can move the slider to the left or the right. If I move it to the left, it will slow down the animation, and if I move it to the right, it will speed it up. So I'm going to move it down to about here, which is fine, and then I'm going to tap export, and now at the top it says video, photo or GIF. If I exported it as a GIF, that would be fine, but it would mean I couldn't add audio over the top. The nice thing about GIFs is you can upload them onto, say, Padlet, and they will then loop forever. But I'm going to choose a video because I want to pull this into clips afterwards. So I now tap Photo Library, and it exports the video that I've just created to the photo library, or the camera roll on the iPad. Okay? So as you can see, I've just done that. I now tap Close, and I come out of the app, and now I'm going to launch the app Clips, which is this one, the one with the video camera in the middle. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just tap on the folder icon top left and tap Create New, like that. So the way that you get the video clip that you just created into Apple Clips is at the bottom you can see it says Camera, Library and Poster. Now that's my light above my head, not a beehive. Anyway, so I tap Library and I tap on the video that I've just made. And now, if I want to add a voiceover, I hold my finger down on the pink button like this. So I'm now going to try and say VRT webcon in the next 4 seconds, like this. VRT webcon. Love it. Okay? Now I'm going to press play. Now, when I tried this with Hyper in the rehearsal, you won't hear the audio, but I just want to check that I can hear it. Okay? Now, I can see that I couldn't hear it either, so what you do then is you tap on this, and, okay, I think probably, normally what happens, as you can see there, it's got the loudspeaker icon, and sometimes there's a line through it to show that it's muted, but it's not muted, but I'm sure, it's probably because I've got the actual, the volume muted on my iPad right now, but you get the idea, you would be able to hear my voiceover, so that's one way of adding a voiceover over the top of the video that I've just created. In other words, I've created the video as a silent movie, if you like, in iMotion, but then by adding it into clips, I can then give a voiceover. And the fact that I chose the portrait format means it's a square video, which is really nice because you want it to fit nicely on the screen. So hopefully that's made sense for the first part. I'm now going to press done, and that will now take me out of that particular screen. I'm still in clips, but I'm going to come out of clips now and go back to my home screen. And the next, hopefully that's clear to everyone, the next clip I'm going to create is using an app called PixArt Animator. So this is PICSART, this is Android and iOS, and the one that I want is the one that has that bluey-green background, or aquamarine, and then the 3 circles. So I tap on the app, and it's come up like this. Again, I'm holding this in portrait, but I could actually hold it as a square if I wanted to. You can get an impression of the sorts of things I'm going to do right now, but anyway, and you can also see that I'm not particularly an artist, but anyway. So what we're going to do now is we're going to create a one-stop animation, but by drawing this time on the screen digitally rather than using old school pen and paper. So I'm going to press on the plus icon at the bottom. I've got a number of different options. You've got a photo option, for example, so you could annotate over the top of a photo and turn that into a GIF or what have you. But for today, I'm just going to tap on the paper option, bottom right. Now this is very important, this page, because it says choose paper. Now bottom right it says 4:3, and if you tap on that, it becomes 1:1, which is what we want, square. But if you tap on it again, it then becomes portrait. So in other words, you can either have landscape, square, or portrait, but because I want to use Apple clips, I want it to be square. So now what we'll do is we'll stick with the white background. I could choose one of these textures, or I could choose a color as a background, but I'm just going to stick with white. And then I'm going to tap the arrow top right, and this is where the action happens. This is the main interface. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tap on the multicolored circle, bottom left, and you can see I can choose a range of colors to draw with, but I'm just going to stick with the standard black to start off with. And then if I tap on the paintbrush icon, like that, I can choose the thickness of the stroke. I can also choose other effects as well, but I'm just going to stick with the standard one at the moment. So then, having done that, I'm now going to start my picture. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a circle, which is, well, not really a circle, it's supposed to be a head. And then the important bit here is underneath, you can see there's the slide option. And if I tap on the slide option, you can see there are 3 icons which have appeared above. And the one that I want is the one that's in the middle, which has 2 squares, one over the other. So I tap on that, and what that's done is duplicated the slide. I can now add another feature in the picture. I can then tap duplicate slide again, then I can tap another feature, duplicate slide. I can now add a nose, like that, duplicate slide. Hopefully you get the idea of what I'm doing. Now a mouth, duplicate slide, the bottom of the mouth, duplicate slide, then some teeth, duplicate slide, then some more teeth, duplicate slide, some more teeth, duplicate slide, and then even more teeth here, duplicate slide. Now I'm going to give some eyebrows, like that, and some more eyebrows, like that. And now I'm going to give the person some hair. So let's start off like this. So what I'm doing is I'm building up the picture stroke by stroke, and then when I play back the animation, it will be able to play back the whole thing as one video. There we are. I'm now also going to give this person a neck and some shoulders, and I've deliberately left a space at the bottom. I'm now going to tap on the multicolored wheel again and tap the blue option, because I'm going to give this person some blue eyes, and then the other blue eye. There we are, duplicate slide. And now I'm going to paint in the hair bit by bit. So you get the idea. So you could use this as a way of creating a picture, which could be for vocab practice, it could be describing some grammar, it could be for storytelling. There's a whole host of different things that you could use this for, and for children in particular, I think, who like to draw, this could be a great way of engaging them with their language learning, and then I'd get them to add a voiceover afterwards. So the last little tip that I would suggest is that you tap duplicate slide 5 times on the last slide, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that just gives the brain enough time to process the final image. So if I now tap on the arrow top right, you can see that the picture is starting to play back, and I can again, as with iMotion, I can choose the speed at which it plays back. So for example, if I move it to the left, it goes much more slowly. If I go to the right, it goes a lot more quickly. So again, it depends on the what you want to say over the top of the image and the length of what you want to say. So if I say go down to about here, then that's absolutely fine. I'm now going to tap the arrow top right, and as again with iMotion, you have the option of being able to choose whether you save your image or your video, sorry, as a video or as a GIF. So you can do either. I should have saved by now, but let's just see what's happening. You can do either. You can either save it as a GIF or as a video. So in a second, it's thinking about it, isn't it? In a second, it should save, but it's not doing that right now. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to close the app quickly, because it normally it should have done that by now, and then I'll just launch it again, because it should have saved it, I think. Let's just see. Here it is. Okay, let's. Yep, there it is. So let's just tap on here. Tap there. There we are. Perfect. So that's what I was expecting. Brilliant. So now I can either choose to save it as a GIF or as a video, but I'm going to save it as a video because I want to add a voiceover later. So now I'm going to tap the red circle with a drop down arrow, and as you can see it's now saved that video. Now I'm going to come out of this right now, and I'm going to come back to that video in a second, but the next thing I want to do is I'm going to tap on clips again, and I'm going to tap on the camera option like that, and as you can see you've got my face, and I'm going to show you one of the killer features of clips, which is the following. If you tap on the speech bubble to the left of the pink button like this, you can see that there are different possibilities of what is called live titles, different positions. I'm going to choose the one here where the text appears right in the middle of the screen, and you'll see as well that on the globe, if I tap on that, there is a whole host of different languages that I can choose. So I'm going to choose French, I think, because it works very easily in English, but I just want to show it does work in other languages as well. And then I tap on the little X on the right hand side like that, and now what should happen is I will now hold down record, and it should turn my voice into subtitles in real time. That's why I gave the title subtitle, easy subtitling. So here we go, let's see if it works. I'm going to try and say, last weekend I went to the cinema. Le week-end dernier, je suis allé au cinéma. And it's worked. So if I press play here, you can see that, you can't hear it, but you can see that what's happening is it's in real time, it's turning my voice into subtitles, which is just incredible. So I think that's brilliant for things like accessibility, obviously links between sound and word spelling links, that sort of thing, and pronunciation. Absolutely fantastic. Now with that in mind, I'm going to tap on the library option now, and I'm going to tap on the video that I just created, and this time I'm going to tap on the speech bubble again, and I'm going to choose the text which goes at the bottom. Can you see? At the bottom of the text. So now I'm going to tap here, and I'm going to say the following. So, j'ai les yeux bleus et les cheveux roux, which was, I have blue eyes and red hair. Let's see if it worked. Perfect. Now let's imagine you made a mistake. If I tap on the little thumbnail at the bottom of the screen, I tap where it says live titles, you can see that the text has come up there. Now if there was a mistake, I could go in and edit that. If you edit too much of the text, it then all appears all in one go and it doesn't look very good. But if there's any slight mistakes and you just change those, then it works absolutely brilliantly. So that's that one. If I now tap the done option and I tap camera, and then this time if I tap on the multicolored star bottom right like this, you can see there are a number of different effects that I can choose. So I'm going to choose the ink effect, this one, and I'm going to press stop. I'm also going to turn off live titles, so I'm going to tap on the speech bubble again and tap the none option bottom left, and this time I'm just going to simply take a picture. Now you can see that bottom right there's that little white circle, can you see, which is my shutter. So I'm going to tap on that, look at the screen, smile like that, and now I'm going to pinch the screen with my thumb and my finger like this and move it on the left hand side, or I could move it on the right hand side. Now by doing that, what it allows me to do is it allows me to add text labels such as this. If I tap on the multicolored star again and I tap, can you see it says filters, labels, stickers and emoji? If I tap on the labels option, there are lots of labels to choose from, as you can see. The one I'm going to choose is the one that says later that evening, and now I'm going to put that here, tap on it and change the language, change the wording I mean, to the following: thank you, and then tap the same label again, change the orientation this time for coming to my VRT WebCon let's move this around a little. Oh, hang on. Webinar. There we are. Now I can obviously move these around a little bit if I wanted to, just to make them fit more easily, but you get the idea. There we are. And now I can then tap the little X and I can do a voiceover like this. Thank you for coming to my VRT WebCon webinar. There we are. So that's everything I wanted to show live, because for the rest of the presentation I wanted to show video clips which I'd created, but hopefully that's given you a good idea of the sorts of things which you can do live with Apple Clips. And now I'm going to show some of the videos which I've already made which are in the presentation. So if I come out of this like that, and then I just put that, there we are, on the screen, and then I go back to here and stop sharing and go back to here. Now I'm back in my presentation. So hopefully that was all clear. If I plug, Heiko, if I plug my headphones back in the PC, I'll be able to hear everyone now, is that right? There we are. So hopefully everyone can still hear me okay. If I just, I've just got my iPad now here, so hopefully everyone can hear me. So I'll just carry on. Wonderful. So thank you so much. I really wanted to show things live, so thank you so much, Heike, for showing me how to do that. That was wonderful. Right, so let's carry on. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you some examples. Now this is an example which I did earlier, live, but I'm going to show you, this is a video clip which I created a while ago, and you'll see that at the bottom of each screen, or some of the screens should I say, there's a tweet link, which if you click on it, I'm going to give you the whole presentation as a PDF later on, but if you click on that link, it will then take you straight to the tweet where you can see the video live, if that makes sense. But Heike has very kindly set up all these videos for me. So just to explain what I did there, so in this example, as before, I launched the camera, I tapped on the multicoloured star, I selected the filters option, and I chose the ink filter. I didn't have to choose the ink filter, but I chose that one because it has that nice black and white effect. Having taken a picture, I then pinched the screen with my thumb and my finger, and that created a column on the right or the left hand side, and then onto that I could then add the text labels in the way that I did. So let's watch the video that I've created here.
Playing around with the ink filtering clips with the later that evening
I'm going to click
label.
on this one here,
Pinching the
to
photo
see what
so
the
a
video
black
sounds
strip
like, and hopefully
appears
the
on
audio will
left or
work fine.
right. Liking the potential for digital storytelling in languages. What do you think? Playing around with the ink filtering clips with the later that evening label. Pinching the photo so a black strip appears on the left or right. Liking the potential for digital storytelling in languages. What do you think?
Okay, brilliant. So let's go back to the presentation. It seems that everyone can hear the video, which is wonderful. So that's the first one. So I think for things like creative writing, for maybe writing poetry, this could be very effective. The way that you can have your filter with the text, and you don't have to choose the later that evening label, you can choose any label you want, but I just wanted to show how you can choose those two because you get that black and white feel, which I think is really nice. Okay, let's carry on. Now this one's got a bit of a backstory. This is using Apple Clips for pronunciation practice, and so if I just explain what the backstory is, I am participating in an Erasmus Plus project at the moment with 5 different countries, including Spain, Italy, Poland, Turkey and England. And in May last year I was staying in Spain for a week as part of this project, and I was lucky enough to stay with a native Spanish speaker who was an English teacher at his local secondary school. And on the first morning we were having breakfast together in his kitchen, and I was buttering my toast, and I said to him, "Do you have any jam?" And he said,
"Yes, I have jam, Joe." And then about a minute later, I was still buttering away on my toast, and I said, "Do you have any jam?" And he said, "Yes, jam." And he pointed at this jam, which he thought was jam, and of course it wasn't jam, it was something else. So I thought, ooh, that's a brilliant teaching moment. I'll be able to turn that into a video using Apple Clips. So
English Pronunciation Guide for Spanish Speakers. Lesson 1. Breakfast Toast Topping Tips. Jam or ham? Jam or ham? Jam. Jam or ham? Ham. No jam nor ham was harmed during the making of this video. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this English Pronunciation Guide Breakfast Toast Topping Tips video useful. Hasta luego!
But it was very short, so it was very quick and easily accessible. It was making a simple pronunciation point about the difference between jam and ham, but you could use this with anything at all. For example, in French, you could use the wa sound for petit pois, il fait froid, whatever pronunciation practice you want to do. You can make very short clips which make a particular point using Apple Clips as well as other movie making applications, but it works particularly nicely in Apple Clips because, as you saw, I could add things like emojis for the thumbs up to show you got the right answer. I was able to show speech bubbles to show that a question had been asked and those sorts of things. So I think that Apple Clips lends itself really nicely to this type of activity. Okay, if it's okay, we'll carry on. Right, now this is the most popular tweet that I sent out in relation to Apple Clips and an example. So this one is to do with teaching directions in French. So as you can see, okay, I can see that I've got the wrong Twitter link. Okay, we'll talk about that later, Heike, that's fine. But anyway, those people that know me on Twitter know that I've got a little boy who's now 3.5 years old, and he's called the Munchkin online, and he's amazing, absolutely lovely, and he's being very quiet at the moment, which is even better. And he's got some toys, so I borrowed some of his toys, and I thought I would be able to show how you can use Apple Clips to teach directions. So what I've done is I've taken a video, or video of his images. I've taken images of his town plan, and then I've added his little toys like the yellow bus and the police car, and then the characters. And you're going to hear my French policeman's voice in a moment as well. And then I ran the whole thing together as a way of
Teaching directions with Apple Clips. Pour aller à la gare, continuez tout droit et tournez à droite. Pour aller à la gare, tournez à droite et la gare est devant vous.
Okay, so as before, you can see that I overlaid different animations, such as the moving arrows to show in which direction you were going, and I also used the speech bubbles to show that there was a conversation. So again, you could apply this to any context, but it's just quite a fun thing to do, I think, particularly maybe with younger learners, but I think we had great fun doing that. Now, in the second, or the next clip, should I say, I'm also looking at the topic of teaching directions, but this time I've used the same town plan, but this time I'm using an app called StoryFab. I can see the question from Heike, how is this created? So as I explained, I borrowed my little boy's town plan, so that's just in one of our rooms downstairs. I then used his toys, and I just took a picture, different pictures that I wanted to in a selection, in an order, and then over the top I was able to add the animations of the speech bubbles and the arrows. So you do all of that within Clips. Once you've got your picture, you tap on Library, you select the picture, you add it into Clips, and then you add the animation over the top. So in the case of the thumbs up, for example, in the previous clip, I just tap on emojis and choose that, or I can choose the
the different stickers, etc. There's lots of them available. There's also some for Disney and things like that as well, which you just tap on, and Pixar, you just tap on them and then add them into your, could be a video, it could be, in this case, a set of still images, and that's how it works. Okay, so this is called Clips by Apple, and it's free, but you need a newer iPad or iPhone for it to work. So in this next clip I'm going to show you, I'm also describing how you could use it with teaching directions, but this time I'm using an iOS only app called StoryFab, and this is one of my favourite apps for creating augmented reality characters. So what you do is you can create your characters. They can be standard characters, or they can be knights or pirates or zombies. You then add actions to them, such as move forward or dance or wave, and you can also record your voiceover over the top.
Teaching directions in French with StoryFab, YouTube Capture and iMovie. Pour aller au commissariat, continuez tout droit, tournez à gauche, continuez tout droit et le commissariat est à votre droite. Continuez tout droit, tournez à gauche, continuez tout droit et le commissariat est à droite. Youpi! Au revoir! Thanks for watching.
Okay, so as you can see there, I used two different characters, I added the movements, and then I recorded my voiceover over the top. Again, as I've talked already, I think that has huge potential using AR in a very practical way. But in this example, teaching directions, but you could use it in any topic in languages. Okay, let's carry on. Right, so this is the killer feature which I've already demonstrated live about creating live titles. But when this first came out, what you had to do is you had to change the language of the whole iPad, which was quite frustrating. But this is what I did.
Alors, il me semble que la seule façon d'écrire en parlant avec la nouvelle application Clips, c'est de changer la langue du iPad. Alors ça c'est frustrant, mais comme ça, comme vous voyez, ça marche. Au revoir.
Okay, so as you can see, in the original version that's how it worked, but in the new version it's just a question of tapping on the globe and choosing your language, so it's much, much, much easier. So that's wonderful. Okay, let's carry on. Now, this is a blog post I wrote for the Linguoscope blog recently, a couple of months ago, and it's simply a demonstration of how enabling live titles works in the new version of Clips. So as I've talked about already, you open up Clips, you tap on the speech bubble icon, you then choose the language by tapping on the globe. You need to have an internet connection for this to work. Most other things on Clips don't need an internet connection, but you need an internet connection for the live titles to work. You then press the little X on the right hand side on that second screenshot. You then hold down your finger on the pink button, or if you want to lock the recording, you simply put your finger on the pink button and move upwards, and then the long pink button turns into a little square, and that locks the recording, so you don't have to hold down the recording button. And then you simply talk into the microphone, and it should turn your voice into live titles. And then if you make a mistake, you can just tap on the thumbnail at the bottom of the screen, tap on the live titles option, and then edit it from there. And that's how it works. Okay, so here are some more ideas on how you can use some more ideas on how you can use Apple Clips for dialogue work. So in this one, just by playing around with it, I worked out that when you have your speech bubble from Clips on the screen, the point of the arrow only goes in one direction. But I worked out if I rotated that speech bubble, that suddenly the point of the speech bubble would go on the other side. So I thought, oh, that would be particularly good for dialogue work for obvious reasons. And so I created this little video clip. Okay, so in that example, as you could see, what I was doing was I was having one utterance per page, per slide, and by doing that, it created that nice little effect and that sensation of movement. And I think the music also enhanced how that worked as well. I can see that Teacher Vance didn't see that one. Okay, could everyone else see that video, or did it not work? I just check. But in that example, what I was trying to do was trying to show how by moving. Oh, you could see it. Okay, by moving the speech bubble, by rotating it, it just turns the point of the speech bubble in the other direction, which makes it nice. But you could obviously have two people talking at the same time. But the fact you can add emoji so easily is wonderful, absolutely wonderful. So that's that one. So if we carry on, if that's all right. Now, in this next one, I used an app called My Talking Avatar Free, which is iOS only. The nearest equivalent is there's one called Buddy Poke, which is BUDDYPOKE, which is actually made also by the same people that make. Sorry, Buddy Poke seems to be like the umbrella company that makes My Talking Avatar Free, but there is an Android app called Buddy Poke, which you could have a look at. But I really like this app because it allows you to record up to 5 minutes of audio. And also it gets you to have many choices when you're customizing your avatar, which is absolutely brilliant. So what I did in this one is, again, I was looking for dialogue work with clips. So I recorded each line of a character in turn in My Talking Avatar Free. So let's say an avatar had line 1, line 3, line 5, line 7, etc. I recorded all of those in one go with one avatar. I then created another avatar and I recorded the other lines, for example 2, 4, 6, 8, etc. And I then took all those video clips, which I'd exported from My Talking Avatar Free, and I imported them into Apple Clips in the way that I've shown you, i.e. tap on the library option, select the clip, hold your finger down on record. You don't have to speak because you can always go and mute the recorded audio or the original audio if you want to as well, which is going to be another language learning exercise. You can mute the original audio and then do a voiceover over the top of a video, which can be a useful exercise, particularly if you have the live titles turned on, because it could be a question of having the live titles in one language and then speaking in another language, translating, for example. So then what I did was, having made all my videos in clips, all you have to do is hold your finger down on one of the thumbnails and then you can change the order. So that's exactly what I did. I just created all the video clips and then I just changed the order so it was back in the correct order. You'll hear as well that when I
This short video clip is designed to show how you can use My Talking Avatar Free with Clips by Apple to create dialogues and promote speaking skills in the one-to-one languages classroom. Bye for now. Question 1. Answer to question 1. Question 2. Answer to question 2. Question 3. Answer to question 3.
Okay. So I can see in the chat, I've been asked the question what MFL stands for. So MFL stands for Modern Foreign Languages, and it's a UK term, although it's also used in Ireland as well, but it refers to the teaching of French, Spanish, German, as well as a bit of Mandarin Chinese, Japanese, etc. But that's what MFL stands for. So we have what we call MFL teachers, the MFL Twitterati, which is a Twitter community which I created and nurture, is the Modern Foreign Languages Twitter community. So there we are. So as you can see, I know I sound a bit dour, but you can see the point here. You can then, instead of saying question 1, answer to question 1, you record the actual question, the actual answer, and then you just reorder the clips. So the reason I suggested doing it that way is it will save time, because you've got to record each clip in turn. So you might as well just record all of one part for one person first, all the second part for the second person next, and then just reorder the clips. So that's the suggestion. Right, so we've only got 8 minutes to go, so I'll crack on. Now this one's got it's a bit more complicated, this one. So there's an amazing website called Photos for Class, photosforclass.com, and it allows you to find Creative Commons images for free, royalty-free images. All you have to do is you just search for the image, a section come up, it says download at the bottom of each image, you tap on the download option, and what happens is it adds the attribution, i.e. the name of the image plus the link to the original plus the license in the footer of the image automatically. So again, I know this sounds a bit strange, but what I did was I did a search for Barbie, as in Barbie dolls, because I wanted to find some images that I could then put speech bubbles over the top. And all these Barbie doll images came up, which is great. I was able to download all of them, or 4 of them, should I say. I then used an app called Balloon Stickies Plus, or the Android equivalent I would say is called Pixay, and I then put speech bubbles over the top of each image. I then loaded them up into an app called Moldiv, M-O-L-D-I-V, but I could have used an app such as PicCollage, which is iOS and Android, but I used Moldiv, and I created a square, and then I put, in the square I put 4 cells, of each being 1 square each, and then I put the speech bubbles, the images with the Barbie dolls in the correct order to create a photo story. And you could do exactly the same either with other Barbie dolls or with real people or pictures of inanimate objects, and then add speech bubbles over the top. And then one of the cool things as well with clips is you can zoom, pan and zoom from cell to cell to create a photo story. Now in this example there isn't any voiceover or music. I could have added that, but I didn't. But this is a way of creating a narrated photo story. So if I click on the video now and show it to you, you'll see what it looks like. Here we go. Look at the manual panning as well, it's very impressive. Yes, Jason, that's right, a grown man playing with dollies. There we are, can you see? So that's the first cell. I'm now manually panning across to the second cell, and each Barbie doll is explaining what's happening in each part of the process of the app smash, as it's called officially. That diagonal pan was very difficult. I did about 10 attempts on that, but you can see that works like that now. And then again, the last pan to the last one, and then we go for the full screen shot with everything together in one go. And then I've also added a title using clips over the top explaining what I'd done. So there we are. So I think this is a great way of creating a narrated photo story whereby you could use real students, add the speech bubbles, etc., but say something like daily routine or that sort of topic which lends itself very nicely to dialogue work. Okay, let's go back to the presentation. Okay, now this next one, this is an amazing app called Texting Story, which works on iOS and on Android, and it allows you to create a text message conversation and save it as a video. You'll also see a picture of the Munchkin in a Okay, so as you can see, it's a really nice technique for creating text message conversations using an environment that the students are very used to, but then turning it into a language learning exercise for writing. If you want to add images, you have to pay the equivalent of 99 pence per app,
but most of those things, everything I showed you there, apart from the picture, is for free. I thought I'd shown you the video with my munchkin in, but it was a different video, but it made the same point, so that's fine. Right, let's carry on. Here's some homework for you. So there's a free ebook called Using Clips in a Foreign Languages Classroom, which would lend itself very nicely to ELT as well. And there's another one called Short Film in Clips, Filmmaking Using Clips. So the first one's by Rachel Smith, the second one's by Simon Pyle, both of whom are Apple Distinguished Educators. If you just search for the names of the titles in the iBook store, you'll find them, and you can just download them and get some more ideas on how you can use Apple Clips in the classroom, in the languages classroom. And this last one, what I did was I used the label function in Clips. So I used what they call a poster, which I haven't had time to show you today, but you choose a poster background, you change the text in the middle from whatever it is to thank you, or whatever you want to include, and I used all the different label possibilities, and I just wrote the same thing, but obviously I could have written something else, such as expressions in the perfect tense, or opinion expressions, whatever it might be, and then I saved that as a video clip, and I used an app called Image Play, which is IMG PLAY, and I turned the video into a GIF, which allowed me to put it in the presentation. So that's Image Play in conjunction with Apple Clips, and thank you ever so much. And if you'd like to download the presentation, here it is. So that's a PDF. Either scan the QR code, or you can go to that link. Again, I'd like to officially thank Heike for giving me the possibility of speaking at this virtual roundtable. I really appreciate it. And as I said already, if you like what you've seen and you'd like me to come to your country and do a session on anything to do with technology and language learning, just send me an email at joedale@talk21.com, or contact me on Twitter @JoeDale, and I would love to hear from you. I travel all over the world, and I'd love